This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Midsummer Update here on the channel. You sure have seen a lot of slow pitch content lately. Of course, some stuff from my trip up in Cold Lake as well. And away we go with what's been a wild summer so far. I promised you I was going to enjoy the heck out of it so far. I have. And well, I figured I better check in, give you an update, and see what's going on. I know there's been a lot of fun I've had on Twitter, and my goodness, talk about Flames fans being in their head. Wow, my goodness. Too good, too easy. You can talk about Austin Matthews, and somehow Flames fans are still losing their minds at me. I don't get it, but it's too much fun. We're having it today anyway. Let's get to the point of this, right? Midsummer check-in. What's Tyson up to? What's Tyson been doing? What's Tyson doing the rest of the summer? Well, my friends, I ain't leaving town the rest of summer other than to go to work pretty much. Got to look after the animals, make sure everything's good here, and take care of business with ball and everything as well. But my friends, we find ourselves already halfway through the summer, right? May, June gone on by. We have an interesting summer so far, that's for sure. I mean, what I have going on now, start of ball season, that was a blast, right? We've now lifted all restrictions. We're full handshakes, hugs, post game. Everything is good and dandy now. And of course, you can't forget the fact that we had our first tournament. You saw some of that live coverage here on Dolynny TV this past week. And oh, don't forget, I also have hit my first home run in 2 years this season so far. So ball season going on by just great. Other than that, outside of life, well, life's pretty good. Just picked myself up a new 2019 vehicle, so life's feeling pretty good. You work hard, you get rewarded sometimes, and my goodness, that one fell together very, very nicely. So driving a nice, sharp new ride after never driving anything that was newer than 2008. So right on, right? Feels good to be doing what I've set out to do in life. Now that said, we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on with the Oilers, and that's what I figured. I've shoved the softball, slow pitch stuff down your guys' throats pretty heavily here this summer, so I figured I'd throw you a bone and talk some thoughts about the Oilers, because I was actually in conversation, you might remember back last year, ex-Snipes Edmonton Oilers. He is now in my neck of the woods. That's pretty sweet to have a friend down here. But anyway, that said, we chat Oilers over wings at the Harvest and Crossfield pre-game for a slow pitch game. And what he said to me was something that actually astounded me, because I've had some pretty hard feelings towards hockey in general for the past several months, probably the past year realistically, since the bubble last year in August. But he's like, man, it's actually enjoyable to talk Oilers with you again. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, before you were always uptight about it and blah, 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 and just really generally upset and angry about things. And I'm like, well, yeah, that was because it was literally work. It was a job. It was not a hobby. It was not anything. The hours I was putting in, it was literally a job. And I mean, YouTube was just doing this with me and making sure that every cent of effort I poured in, I was getting maybe a tenth of a cent out, if you get that kind of phrasing for it. But you know what? We moved on. We got it done, and we've gone and enjoyed a summer. But now I've gotten to the point where I can relax and I can joke and talk about the Oilers again. So I figured, talk to you guys a little bit about it, since I have, like I said earlier, shoved the slow pitch content down your guys' throats this summer. And I ain't going to stop. I'm sorry. I'm having way too much fun with it, and we'll continue. We're going to have a full game broadcast here coming up sometime soon, either next week or the week after, whenever it ain't storming down here in southern Alberta. But that said, there's a lot going on with the Oilers, right? I made that community post. 25 of you liked it. Is the fact that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins should be given this contract an Oiler for life. That's a win, my friends. I know the term seems scary, but think about it this way, right? 5.125 8 years from now, given cap inflation, should be like a $3.25 million contract today. And I'm sorry, right? We're all yelling that Adam Larson should be paid somewhere between 3 and 3.5 at most for next season. So do the math, right? Is, right? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, yeah, his advanced age then, but he's a leader within the team. He's the longest serving Oiler at that point. He's the longest serving Oiler ever probably at that point. When you're getting into year 7 and 8, you're probably talking pretty good bang for your buck, even if you aren't getting the super production on the ice. And if 5.125 equals 3.25 now, that's my rough estimates, is you're not losing anything by having that contract on the team. And for anyone worried about term because of injuries and stuff, Nuge is a guy that's suffered a lot of injuries over the course of his career already, mostly to his shoulder. So if his shoulder gets banged up further, you're probably going to see an Oscar Klefbom situation where it's a decision between how do I spend the rest of my life versus how do I spend the rest of my hockey career, right? So that's where we're seeing with Mr. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is the fact that we could see him getting it going for the Oilers for a long time, and at worst case scenario, it's cut short due to injury, not necessarily due to a decline in play in my mind. Now, famous last words on that, correct? Correct. All right, anyway, let's go figure out something here about Duncan Keith. That's the other big thing going on in Edmonton Oilers land right now is Duncan Keith is heavily rumored to at some point this summer be being traded to the Cold Lake Ice. To the Edmonton Oilers, my friends, to the Edmonton Oilers. So, what does that mean for us? Well, it means you have a guy behind Darnell Nurse who can do heavy lifting, right? A guy that has been there, done that, won a lot of cups, done the job, and can do heavy lifting on this squad when you don't have to rely on Darnell Nurse. Right now, right, the guy on the squad would be Oscar Klefbom. We've already discussed that situation, so we don't need to go there again. But you get where I'm going with this is the veteran presence, the leadership. I think he's got 2 years on the contract. If you can make things make sense, right, if you can do Neal and Jones out for Keith, I think you're doing okay. If you can do Koskinen and Jones out for Keith, you're doing okay. I think the big thing is, from what we've learned today here on Saturday, July 3rd, is it's going to be some package involving money and Caleb Jones. A pick in there as well. Well, you know what? The NHL would love that if we would send a pick to Chicago, just simply because, yeah, they can screw us over on picks one more time, another time, under Ken Holland, as they did with the Lucic and Neal trade. So that's where we find ourselves, right? Is there's a little bit going on in Edmonton Oilers land, and there's stuff brewing up. I mean, you want to talk Bakersfield. Cooper Marody unfollowed the Oilers and the Condors on Instagram, I believe is where I saw that the other day. Now, who knows what that's all about, but, right, there's stuff happening, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, is the nicest part about it all is it ain't stressing me out. It ain't my job to wind it all up, figure it all out, and package it out for broadcast. And that feels good because let me tell you, when a hobby feels like a job and you ain't getting paid dang jack diddly nothing for it, you shouldn't be doing it. And when it's controlling your life to the extent it controlled mine there in January and February, yeah, it was a good time to walk away. And let me tell you, hitting dingers in the summer and, well, chicks do dig the long ball, you know that. Yeah, okay, Tyson. But, right, it's one of those things where, you know what, glad I walked away. Glad I have gotten back to a point where I can actually sit on camera and talk about it and not get overworked about it. So that's good to see as well. And I'm glad to be able to come out here and just give you an update on how things have been going. Now, the rest of the summer, like I said, it's pretty much stay at home, take care of the animals, and play a bunch of slow pitch and get going. We'll have a bunch of slow pitch streams, hopefully a bunch of stuff featuring, of course, Mikey V and Metcalf on the play-by-play because I got to play. I ain't going to sit there and broadcast unless I'm injured. And who knows when I'm going to get injured because, hey, I'm getting up there. You see this face? It's getting old. So, my friends, keep enjoying your summer until I think, let me tell you when I play next. Let's see here. The old Team Snap. Yeah, check the old Team Snap. Got some stuff going on. July 6th, Tuesday, July 6th against the Racks and Sacks. And away we go. I don't know if we'll have any kind of broadcast from that, but we'll find out. Tuesday, July 6th, 7:15 p.m. game in Crossfield. If anyone wants to come on down and watch and heckle me, come on down and let's have some fun. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I am up on out of here.